Hi boys and girls, so today we are going to go over Unit 12, Lesson 6, and we are continuing to use graphs to show data or to present data, but today we are going to be using line plots. So it's a new type of graph that we are going to look at to plot our data today. So if we look down, we can see that a line plot is shown below. Just like in every graph that we've been doing, there's the title of the line plot. So this is called number of pencils measured. Then we have our horizontal scale. So we know that horizontal is going this direction. So that's the length of pencils in inches. So our scale right now is 1 inch. So 0, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches. Okay. And then these X's, those are what is showing our data. So each X represents a pencil that is whatever length it is plotted on. So if we look right here, we can see that there is one pencil that is 2 inches long. There are no pencils that are 3 inches long, or 0 or 1 inches, because there are no X's here. That means that there is no data. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pencils that are 4 inches long. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pencils that are 5 inches long. And I bet you can figure out how many pencils there are that measured 6 inches long. So if we look here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 X's. That is our data. So there are 4 pencils that are 6 inches long. Okay? There are 0 pencils that are 0 inches long, 0 pencils that are 1 inches long, okay? So these X's represent your data. That's how many pencils are 6 inches long, how many pencils are 5 inches long, etc. So the way that we are going to be using this today is by using the ruler that they have given to you in the book, the ruler that looks like this. But before, upside down. There we go. But before we get started on that, I want to show you something that I know that you are going to be familiar with that's going to help you out with this. So if we take a look at what I have right here, I know that you're really familiar with this from working with fractions, and we have our number line, our fraction number line, okay? So on our fraction number line, you can see, because I already have it down for you, that this number line is partitioned into fourths. We also know that our number line is greater than 1 whole because my numerator starts to become larger than my denominator. We are working with numbers larger than 1 whole. So if I look here, we know that we start at 0 fourths, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Those are my fourths. So I keep going, 1/4, 2/4, which we know is the same as 1/2, 3/4, and 4/4. 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. It's the same as 1 whole. They are equivalent. And then we keep going, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and 8/4. 8/4 is equivalent to 2 wholes because 2 sets of fours is 8/4 or 2. 9/4, 10/4, 11/4. And then we get to 12/4, which is equivalent to 3 wholes. We know that 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12, or 3 wholes. 13/4, 14/4, 15/4, and 16/4. We know that 4 groups of 4 is equal to 16, so 16/4 is 4 wholes. So this is something that you should be very familiar with from what we've been doing with fractions. Now, when we're using a ruler, what you're going to be working with today, we are going to call these kind of our little fractions on a ruler something a little bit different when we're using a ruler to show length. So let's see. I see the same thing here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I see fourths. I already know that we're working with fourths that are larger than 1 whole because I see 1, 2, 3, 4 whole numbers. Okay, and these are actually our inches. 0 inches, 1 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. But we know that when we're measuring something, because I know that you've all measured inches in rulers, you know that things are not always 1 whole inch or aren't always 2 whole inches. So today we are going to be measuring to the nearest fourth. So that is what I'm going to be showing you right now. Okay, so just like our previous graph, or number line, we have 0, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. But when we're working with a ruler and when we're working with our inches and lengths, we do not call this 4/4. We just call it 1 inch. So I'm going to write 1 here. Okay, and then instead of going 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, when I'm measuring and I'm using length, I just call it 1 1/4. I start back over again. 1 2/4, 1 3/4. So what do you think I'm going to fill in when I get to 2? Okay, do you call 2 inches 8/4? No, what do you call 2 inches? 2 inches. And then I keep going. I know that these are in fourths because they're partitioned to fourths. So I'm going to start over at 1/4, 2 1/4 inches, 2 2/4 inches, which I can also call 2 1/2 inches, okay, 2 3/4 inches, and then I get to 3 inches. Now keep going with me. You can say it out loud at home. 3 1/4 inches, 3 2/4 inches, or 3 1/2 inches, 3 3/4 inches, and then I get to 4 inches. Okay? So on the ruler that they've given you that you are using today that looks like this, okay, you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 little tick marks. And just like we said, those little tick marks, it's not perfect on here, so I'm not going to line it up. But you can see that that represents our fourths. So if it's below our 1 inch, if something is a smaller length, a shorter length than 1 inch, then we can just say, if it lands here, that is 1/4 of an inch long. That is 2/4 or 1/2 of an inch long. That is 3/4 of an inch long, or it is 1 inch long. 1 1/4 inches, 1 inch 2/4 or a half, 1 inch 3/4, 2 inches long. 2 1/4 inches, 2 2/4 inches, 2 3/4 inches, 3 inches long. 3 1/4, 3 and what can I say besides 2/4? Yep, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, 4, and so on and so forth. So all of our ticks represent fourths because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. It's just when we're measuring in length, we start over again instead of continuing to count up like we were up here. Okay, enough of me talking. Let's get started. So let's go back to our teacher input or model. So what it says is measure the length of each paintbrush and record the data on the next page. So remember, when you are working with measuring, you always want to start right at the 0. So we're not going to start here, or that would give us extra. Okay, we want to start right at the 0. And you can tell that this is right on our 3 inch mark. So I'm going to say that this is 3 inches exactly. Okay, the next paintbrush goes to about right here. So that's 3 inches, 3 1/4 inches, 3 2/4 inches, 3 3/4 inches. So I'm going to write 3 3/4 inches. Okay, my next one, start at 0, and I get to here, 4. Okay, we want to look after the 4, right? 4 1/4 inches, 4 1/2 or 2/4, 4 3/4 inches. Next paintbrush, we're in the 3s, the 3 inch zone, right? 3 1/4 inches, 3 2/4 inches. So you can either write 3 2/4 or you can write 3 1/2 inches. Always want to put our unit, okay? Our next one, we're at the 4. Okay, 4 inches, 4 and first tick, 1/4 inches. And I'm going to keep going. I'm at, let's see again, same thing. I'm at my 4 and 1 dash in, so it's 4 1/4 again. They were the same. My next one is a little bit longer, 4 1/4, 4 and 2/4 inches or 4.5 inches. They're equivalent. My next paintbrush, we are at 3 1/4, 3 2/4. So 3 2/4 inches or 3.5 inches. 2 more left. I am at 4 1/4, 4 2/4, or 4.5. So 4 2/4 or 4.5 inches. My last paintbrush. I land here. So 4 1/4, 4 2/4 inches, 4 3/4 inches. So now